Thank you for joining us once again here at Shifting Schools. If this is your first time listening to us, welcome. And we hope you become a subscriber and never miss another episode. I'm your host, Jeff Udick, as my colleague, the amazing Trisha Freeman, is probably busy making another free PDF for you all. So you're stuck with me today, which reminds me, if you haven't subscribed to the Shifting Schools newsletter, you might want to do that so you don't miss the next free resource from Trisha. Just head over to shiftingschools.com and sign up today. While there, take a look at our free resources we have there for you and join us at camp.shiftingschools.com for even more resources, free courses, and conversations. Of course, all those links are over there at the website, shifting.com. As we get started today, I have an essential question to get your mind turning. Are you ready? Here we go. Have you ever imagined what the future of education could look like if there were robots as assistant teachers in every classroom? Well, today, we'll talk about scenario-based learning and opening our imaginations to the possibilities of the future. I'm thrilled to be joined by Amy Oswalt, founder of Ask Different Questions. We'll explore the concept of scenario-based learning and how it can help educators and students envision a future shaped by artificial intelligence. Amy will share her insights on using scenario work to reduce anxiety about the future, foster creativity, and enhance system thinking. We'll also discuss the role of assistive technologies in supporting neurodiverse learners and how AI can be a powerful tool in this space as well. Plus, Amy will tell us more about her work with Ask Different Questions and how it's helping teachers create personalized pathways for their students. But before we dive into today's conversation, here's a quick word from today's show sponsors. Discover the power of acknowledgement with Libra. In a world where every staff member's dedication shapes the future, recognizing their efforts becomes our mission. Libra transforms your school into a place where achievements, big and small, are celebrated daily, creating a ripple effect of motivation and pride. Join the recognition revolution with Libra, where every achievement is a cause for celebration. For more information and a free demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com today. And now, let's get started. Amy Oswalt is the founder of Ask Different Questions, a company dedicated to helping schools and teacher teams integrate innovative practices into their curriculum. With a focus on scenario-based learning and assistive technologies, Amy is paving the way for a more imaginative and inclusive educational experience. I hope you enjoy this. And with that, on with the show. All right, welcome back to another episode of Shifting Schools. I'm so excited to be joined today by Amy, founder of the Ask Different Questions. We'll be talking a little bit about that a little bit later in the show. Amy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. Let's dive right in here. You are looking for educators to think big when we consider the potential of AI. You've written about scenario work. Can you take listeners through what does scenario work mean? What is that?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Scenario work is really, and I think the term that I'm now hearing is scenario design learning. So similar to project-based learning, but really providing anyone who's engaged in it with an opportunity to step outside of the present moment, take away the heat of the present moment, as we are really familiar with, and think about the future in a way that is less daunting. And so it really gives you, the students, anyone that's engaging in it, an opportunity to think ahead without having to be right, without having to know the answer. And so when you start doing that, you start envisioning yourself in the future. You start seeing, oh, I could be a part of that. And that's really been demonstrated to take down a lot of the anxiety that people feel about the future, because they really can start to see themselves as part of it. Scenario work in particular is really allowing us to rewrite something. So, for example, the way that I came into scenario work is through a group called Urgent Optimists. It's run by Jane McGonigal, who is a futurist. She's written a number of books, and one of her books, Imaginable, really talks more about scenario work. As part of the Urgent Optimists, you can join different scenarios that they're doing, and I've joined a couple of them. It's so much fun, and it really starts you thinking in lots of different ways about lots of different things. One of them was about if there was no more, we weren't allowed to have any more trash, like what would the world look like and how would you change? And then you can incorporate art into it. And so I started doing it just because I was like, wow, this is so fun.
Yeah.
Like I love being in this space. And then as a teacher, you're always like, wait, I wonder if we could do this with kids. What would that be like? So I had a group of students, and my background and the students that I work with still are all students that have language-based learning differences like dyslexia and other. And so I retooled one of Jane McGonigal's scenarios called Feel That. I think it's one that she used maybe 10, 12 years ago with kids.
Yeah.
And so I just rejiggered it because some of it wasn't really appropriate for the group I was working with. And we went through the scenario and the kids loved it. They were so engaged. They wanted to do the writing. They wanted to be a part of it. One of the students went home and made his own Feel That bracelet.
Oh, wow.
And then pretended to do it with his family. And that's when you see learning happen.
Yeah,
when you see kids take it to the next place, to another spot. It really allows a lot of agency in learning. And as we are seeing, Gen Alphas really needs agency. We have removed it. I'm a child of the 70s.
Yeah.
All I had was agency.
We've gone a long way from where we were as kids, right?
No one knew where I was most of the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Really finding ways that they can really have some ownership in their lives. And this allows them to be more participatory in what they're doing. And it also really keeps you open to other alternatives. So you don't get stuck in it's always been this way and it has to be this way. So it allows you to think about change in a different way. It allows you to feel more comfortable with lots of different alternatives rather than it must end in this way. And I think the final piece of this is it really helps with systems thinking and really getting you to start to see patterns and relationships. And we tend to, and especially when we're younger, think about this happened to me and only me. Yeah. And when you start creating different scenarios, you can start seeing, oh, this same thing happened, but in this different space and in this different time. And you can start thinking about things more as patterns rather than individualizing everything and making it all kind of your own thing.
As we find ourselves headed into another school year here, and we start thinking about the power that AI has, and I love that we're talking about doing this scenario work when we talk about something which for some is scary, thinking about where AI could go. How are you leveraging some of this scenario work with maybe educators in thinking like beyond? I love this idea. It's not about here and now, but can you put yourself in a future where, for better or for worse, wherever you land on that spectrum, AI is not going away. It's going to become part of Gen Alpha's life for sure. How are you using this work maybe in an AI sense with educators and even kids if you are?
I think that's one of the beautiful things about a scenario-based learning is that it can be a really low-tech, high-tech learning experience. So the curriculum that we're working on and using with students really allows a teacher who may have deep tech skills to engage. We have a chat bot that they can use and engage with and coach and work with. But we also have a lot of personal coaching embedded into it because the human connection and really allowing educators to feel hopeful. I feel like we've created a teaching situation that is such a beatdown.
Yeah.
And so really getting teachers to feel that it's okay to imagine these things. And it's okay to imagine a horrific future with AI.
Yeah.
It's okay to take yourself through that and live through the end of it and go, okay, if that happens. Sometimes we try so hard not to think about things that it works against us. And I think this allows teachers to have lots of on-ramps into this thinking So they don't have to have a particular skill set. They don't have to have a particular philosophical belief. There's room for everybody to come on board where they feel comfortable.
Yeah. And you don't have to have all the answers now, which is something that I struggle with in the trainings that I do is very much. And I don't know if this is just a human thing or just a teacher thing, but this idea of, I need the answer now. I need the answer now. And especially in where we are in a lot of this work right now, specifically around AI, we don't have that. And that's where I love this idea of, can you imagine a scenario in a year from now? This could be a scenario, or in 3 years from now, where could we end up? What might that look like? And where would we go on both? And I love the idea. You take it from AI is going to take our jobs to no, AI is just going to be my assistant teacher that I always wished I had in the classroom. What would that look like if we could have those different scenarios out there? And as I keep telling teachers and the work I'm doing around AI is I just got to be in the conversation right now. I don't need you to take a side on whether it's good or bad. I need you to keep plugging away. I need you to be in the scenarios. I need you to be thinking through this stuff because it is moving so fast that we just need you in it rather than try to figure out a way to get out of it.
Right. Or even capture it.
Yeah.
I think just thinking right now, like you're saying, just be part of the conversation and feel okay to feel unsettled. We all feel unsettled. And just thinking more along the lines of having kids imagine things. They can imagine what would it look like in 5 years if AI is fully embedded in our government? How does that change things? Yeah. And some of this work, I think we shy away from with the little guys. And I think that's the best place to start. You can start with a little kid and say, a different classroom.
Yeah.
What would you put in it? How would that look? What do you think are the important things? There isn't a right or wrong answer to that, but it definitely gets hopefully you to see 15 different classrooms or different ways to look at it. Mm-hmm. And that's a small, tiny thing that you can do that doesn't involve AI. It doesn't involve any belief system. It's just, let's imagine this thing a little different. So good.
Yeah. So good. Thank you for tuning in to Shifting Schools. Let's pause our discussion to spotlight Libra HQ, a breakthrough in using AI to deepen connections within organizations. Imagine an environment where every staff member feels truly seen and valued. This is the heart of Libra's mission. Libra transforms how leaders celebrate and recognize the personal and professional milestones of their team members. It's not just about reminders. Libra's AI dives deeper, offering insight into enhanced team cohesion and promote a culture where support and acknowledgement are paramount. Picture a school where every individual is acknowledged, from work achievements to personal victories, creating a culture of appreciation in just minutes a day. In these challenging times, where the demands on educators have never been higher, Libra offers a way for school leaders to lead with true empathy and compassion, ensuring every team member feels an integral part of their community's success. Discover how Libra can revolutionize your school's culture. For a demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com. Let's build a future where every educator and staff member feels connected and valued. And now, let's get back to our conversation. Your Future Foundations curriculum overview includes AI in it to better prepare students for the future. What conversations would you like teachers to have more of when it comes to the topic of AI with students today?
I think just keeping that nuance and keeping that conversation going, that it isn't good, it isn't bad. I think there is a space that some people are in that is actually creating some fear in our kids about AI. And I don't think that's exactly where we want to go with this either. So I think I would love to encourage teachers to talk to each other about it, have those discussions. If there is somebody that's really into it and wants to show you something, great. Just be open-minded to look at different things and don't feel that you need to go buy something or put some curriculum or anything like that in place. You don't need to do anything except try some things out on your own.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's and I just love this idea that we get caught in the nuances of, is it good, is it bad? And I think we forget that it could be a little bit of both, right? Yes, the energy that these things are using is really bad. And we're going to have to figure that out. And there are people figuring that out of like, how do we make them more energy efficient? And that's just one aspect of it, right? It can be both bad on the environment and really good on what it can do for kids on the other end. And I think...
And the bad, sorry for interrupting, okay. The bad in the environment, though, then has the potential to lead to greatness. We could get free, clean energy. Like that is a game changer for me, right? For sure.
That's so true. These things might make things more energy efficient because we actually have the thing. Yeah, it's just
and sometimes you got to bottom it out. Okay, great. If we want to continue to use AI and build its capacity, we do need a different energy source. And that might be the push that some people needed to really investigate it and actually get it developed.
That's so true. So true. But yeah, and I just love that it can be both at the same time. And I think we're always looking for something that is black and white instead of saying it can be both. And I don't think that's a bad place to be. And again, to your point, having conversations with this generation where it's going to be a part of their life, I don't think will ever be a bad thing on where do you use it? What do you think it's going to be? Could you imagine a future where you have robots? Can you imagine a future where you don't have to get a driver's license? Can you imagine a future where there might not be actual pilots flying your plane? You start thinking about those things and what would that look like? And what does that mean for people? Or I don't know. I just think there's so many ways that we can just have kids imagine. Imagination is so important. And I don't think we spend enough time thinking about getting kids to imagine what their future could look like and spurring their imagination through some of these technological advances that are just going to be part of their everyday life, like the internet is for us today, right?
Well, and I think we think imagination doesn't need to be taught and it doesn't need any kind of development. And it really does. As a kid, I remember doing this activity with my mom. It was some naming contest and I really wanted to name the thing the obvious name.
Yeah.
And she was like, I will not let you do that. Like we had a throwdown. I was like 5 and I'm like, oh no. But I remember that really well because she was like, but that's the obvious choice. So she really did a lot. Not that she was doing it purposefully, but to really help me use my imagination. And having looked back at that, it didn't just show up. You do need to grow it.
Yeah. I'm really interested in the work that you're doing around assistive technology consulting. You are a consultant supporting schools and teachers, and you do offer some assistive technology consulting with an emphasis on neurodiversity. For listeners who maybe are unfamiliar with ways that technology can support neurodiverse learners, can you maybe talk us through some examples of things that we are seeing? And maybe are we seeing AI start to support learners in this space?
Yeah, definitely. I think assistive tech is a range. It could be a straw. It could be a chatbot. So it's a wide range of ways that you can manipulate the environment to make it strengthen a person's ability to participate. With some of the tech that we've been using with some of our students are apps like Speechify or Atlas Primer is another one. There's another one called 11 Lab, I think, that a couple kids have tried out. That has been amazing for our kids because we don't have to find different ways to have them read something. So if we, for example, want to pull something off of a website and everybody's going to read this particular PDF, a student that maybe can't read that PDF for whatever reason can put it into Speechify and have it read to them. With Atlas Primer, there's tools that will also help condense the article for them or summarize it or pull out the important pieces or do some more back and forth. And this is the beginnings of all of that. But just even opening up a Google Doc and using speech to text or using Book Creator is an amazing place to be because you can use video, audio, lots of different ways to respond. So just really thinking about, do I have to have this information back from this student in a particular way? And do they have to receive it from me in a particular way? And if the answer is no, then there's a host of assistive tech that will probably get all kids to have more equal seating at the table.
Yeah. What does that look like when you go in and consult? Do you usually consult with a school? Does a school bring you in usually when you want to consult around this stuff?
Usually it's been more with a teaching team and generally with student support services or working with so I also work with an online school. And so sometimes our students are at a brick and mortar school. And so we work with that brick and mortar school to help augment that student. And a lot of it ends up being very personalized for that kid.
Yeah.
Which I think is another important piece of this, because again, we're so conditioned to find the solution.
Yeah.
But for some kids, Speechify is great. For other kids, they're like, I don't like that voice. I want to try this thing. And so the other piece that we're really heavily focusing on is getting parents involved, because schools can't do it all. And the online school is working with parents to help them meet with them once a week. So the teaching team meets with the parent once a week and looks at a piece of assistive tech, say Speechify, and they will give the parent an assignment. Go work with that 5 times in the wild. So go try it at a restaurant, try it at a grocery store.
Cool.
So the parent can actually see what it is and how it works. And only a week goes by if it didn't work, because usually the first time it doesn't.
Yeah.
And like 3 months goes by, you get irritated. If you can keep things more frequent and really show parents, because that's the other push that I think a lot of this needs.
I like that. So most of the time you're coming in and working with teams around assistive tech. And I agree with you. I think one of the things that when we talk about assistive technologies is there are so many different ways I think that you can use it, but it's so personalized. And that's the thing that I find about even in my AI trainings right now is you've got to get in, because I can give you a prompt, but that's my prompt. You need your prompt when you're dealing with AI bots, because your prompt is for you and you're trying to solve your problem or trying to meet a need that you have, not a need that I have. And that's where you've got to get in and you've got to play with these tools. And much like assistive technology with kids, like the first one might not work. You might have to try a couple different ones to actually get those to find the one that fits you,
Yeah,
talk a little bit about your work over at Ask Different Questions. Great website, by the way. If anybody wants to head over, it's askdifferentquestions.com. I love the look of the website. I'll just tell you that off the front. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing over there.
So this is a company started with my sister. She and I grew up out in the middle of nowhere. And I think that really helped us work our imaginations. And also, as I mentioned, with my mom. And so we're really working with schools, mostly with teaching teams, to help teachers identify assistive tech that they want to use, help them create those personal pathways. And then we've just launched a curriculum that we are really interested in trying out with teachers. We are getting a group of teachers together to use it this coming school year as really a way for us to understand how this worked. I'm really interested in, this isn't exactly the right term, but like an open source curriculum almost, where like you can write it like every year. I really want to encourage teachers to get some help that is really concentrated in the beginning, and then you won't need it in the end. Like really helping teachers through coaching to try different things, ask different questions, with the idea that then they feel confident to do that on their own. And that's really the space that we want to live in. The idea that we're creating independent thinking humans.
Yeah. I love it. Over on the website, it says, warning, this is not a curriculum in the traditional sense. I love that. I love that. This is great. Awesome. Amy, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Other than the website, if teachers or administrators want to reach out to you to learn more about you, or maybe have you come in and support some of the work they're doing in their own classroom, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Probably just email. They can email me at amy@askdifferentquestions.com, or just fill out a contact on the website. That'd be great.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you joining us today on Shifting Schools.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.